Welcome back, everybody. I'm Ed Berliner. Thanks for joining us. Our special edition of The Hardline. It's all about Super Tuesday, right until midnight Eastern time tonight, right here on Newsmax. Let's get back to work. Time to dig into what we on The Hardline call the political animal. Left versus right, donkey versus Sullivan, common sense versus dose of reality. You get to decide for yourself which one fits there, because I'm not going to get involved at that level. First up, he is the veteran Democratic strategist, former top dog of the Travis County Democratic Party, and the man whose Twitter description begins with the sage words, "Life in the circus ain't easy." J.D. Gins, joined by the politics editor at the Washington Times, author of Devouring Freedom, Can Big Government Ever Be Stopped?, and on whose Twitter feed today noted how the Mike Huckabee camp is pushing for a Trump-Huckabee ticket, and thus sent waves of fear or delight into the hearts of millions. W. James Antle III. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for joining us. Jim, I'm going to get to you on that first of all, because we've got a lot of things to talk about, but that whole tweet just caught me right away. Do you think that's serious?
Well, there aren't a lot of Republican elected officials or former Republican elected officials who've really embraced Donald Trump, so his short list is maybe a little bit shorter than a lot of other potential GOP nominees. So I think any candidate, and Mike Huckabee was one of the people in the field who was perceived to be kind of trying to cozy up to Trump, particularly at the end, very reluctant to criticize Trump. Can't really rule anything out. I mean, this is a pretty crazy race, so things that might not typically make a lot of sense, you could very well see happen.
Do you think that, before I go to the left side of this and JD, do you think, though, that would be, and we're going to speculate here now, but would that be a ticket that would soften Trump? I mean, in any way, shape, or form? Because, look, Mike Huckabee's had some very controversial things to say as well over the years. It would seem in some ways that might be a good fit. Other ways, you tell me.
Right. I think it would probably be a very controversial and polarizing ticket. I mean, Mike Huckabee has a sunnier personality, at least at times, and he is a more natural fit to evangelicals and has experience as a state governor in Arkansas. So he would balance Trump out in some ways. But in a lot of other ways, I would imagine as a Democratic opposition researcher, I'd be pretty happy running against that ticket.
All right, JD, I guess I'll start that out with you right there. Would you, as a Democratic operative then, or as someone who at least opines on this, would you find that to be an attractive ticket for the Democrats to run against?
I would love that ticket. I think that would be great news. If the Republicans think that they need to go further right than Donald Trump in order to win the nomination, or excuse me, win the general election, then I say bring it on, because they're abandoned the middle. Middle America, independent voters have nowhere to go in this Republican Party, so I would love for them to double down like that.
Let me then get to you on the left's idea of what to do against Donald Trump. There's a number of articles that have come out today that talked about what the Clinton campaign is at least thinking of doing. It seems as if they're going to go after Trump's personality, talk about the fact that he would not be electable, or the fact that he might be just a little bit too bombastic to be a good leader in times of stress. Do you think that the Clinton campaign right now, as we speak, has a good idea and is focusing in on how they believe they can defeat Trump?
I absolutely think so. I think the Republican Party establishment and candidates running dropped a huge ball. There's a treasure trove of things that Donald Trump has said over the years, done, actions taken, bankruptcies filed, that could be easy ammunition. And I promise the Democratic Party, the DNC, and the eventual nominee are not going to stop and take it gently because they're afraid of him. They're going to take it right to him. He's got a long history of flip-flopping on many, many issues, and I think that the Clinton campaign or the Bernie Sanders campaign or just the Democrats in general are going to be happy to go through all these things that I think a lot of the Republican Party now wishes they had done.
So, Jim, let's talk about it from the Republican side of things. Look, Hillary Clinton is no angel. There's an awful lot of warts there that Donald Trump or anybody can go after. So knowing full well how the Clinton campaign, if indeed they do get the nomination, which looks likely, how they will go after Trump, what would be then your guess as to what the Trump campaign would go after? Because they don't play fair under any sense of the word, and that would seem to be a pretty tough group to go up against.
Well, I think Donald Trump could wind up doing what Mitt Romney did in that one debate where he sort of disavowed a bunch of his previous positions and left Barack Obama a little bit flat-footed. Donald Trump could potentially run his entire campaign like that. I mean, he's got much less of a documented track record, and he's had a history of changing his issue positions. I think Trump would be very unpredictable in a general election, just as he's been fairly unpredictable as a primary candidate. For both good and ill, he will be very willing to try and to sort of road test all kinds of different attacks against the Clintons that a lot of more established Republicans would be afraid to do. And there will be times when that risk-taking will pay off, The thing that makes a lot of Republicans nervous is that there might be times when some of that risk-taking doesn't pay off.
But is that just it, Jim? When you come down to Donald Trump, he's not afraid of anybody. Doesn't give a damn. He'll go after anybody. He'll say anything. He'll make fun. He'll mock. He'll bring up water bottles. He'll do absolutely anything. What most politicians will not do. With him, it's gloves off going up against Hillary Clinton. That could be frightening in so many ways to watch this.
It will be a very ugly general election because Trump will not be afraid to I mean, he's already much more forthrightly talked about Bill Clinton's sex life than most recent Republicans would be willing to do. I imagine the Clintons will respond in kind. I mean, they certainly have not been shrinking violets when it has come to attacking their opponents. So I think you're going to see treasure troves of opposition research unleashed on the airwaves, and a lot of money spent on attacks, and I think it'll be a pretty negative campaign. And I think you already see that the Clintons that Hillary Clinton is going to use Trump as sort of their main minority get out the vote tool. They're going to try to replicate a lot of the high turnout that Barack Obama enjoyed in 2000 and 2012, not so much with enthusiasm for her, but with fear of Donald Trump. And so that will be, I think, a major turnout generating tactic used by the Democrats.
All right, J.D., let's go ahead and look at this is not just a Republican Super Tuesday here. We do have the Democrats involved here as well. Hillary Clinton, the favorite in all but two states. That is Bernie Sanders' home state of Vermont and the caucuses in Minnesota. J.D., come on, take the gloves off here for a moment. Let's just be honest here. Hillary Clinton's got this. I mean, really. I mean, Bernie Sanders would have to do some amazing work here, but isn't it fair to say if you look at the numbers, you look at things that are going on here, she is an unstoppable train at this moment. Yes or no?
I think that it's important to really think about this, that it's still not settled yet. But I do think she's looking very strong. But Bernie Sanders raised $40 million in the month of February. He's looking okay in Illinois. He's looking to head towards Ohio. Hillary's doing well in Florida. So we will have this settled after March 15th. But right now, it's too early to call. Now, look, Texas is up for grabs. If she does to him what she did in South Carolina, then clearly then it's going to be a really tough thing for him. But if he comes out of here with a lot of delegates out of Texas, then he'll still be in the game. Clearly, his supporters are still funding the campaign, so I think we'll continue to go. But look at the debate the Democratic Party is having. Bernie Sanders tweets something about Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton retweets it. The Democratic Party isn't burning it down. We're having a real conversation. We're having it actually out, and I think that's fine. We're letting the process play out. Now that you compare that to what the Republican Party is doing, they're melting down. That debate in Houston was the most entertaining thing I've ever seen as a Democratic operative. And, it's not going to stop now. And once Donald Trump gets the nomination, they're going to continue to fight. Are they going to have a floor fight at the convention? So while it's true Hillary's strong, and she very likely could win, might very well win, the Democratic Party is going to finish this process out. Bernie Sanders is well funded, and we're going to continue to have a positive debate. And I think the conversation the Democratic Party is having right now is right up the middle of the country. People know that the economic times are challenging.
I love you, JD, because you always get that shot, and you always manage to do it late, talking about the Republicans. I was going to talk about something else, but I can't. Jim, I got to come to you with a minute to go here. JD uses the phrase melting down. This seems to be a line of thinking here. Is it melting down, or is it necessary? That what happens every now and then in a political party, you got to clean out the old, you got to bring in the new, you got to have a little insurrection, you got to have a little civil war sometimes because it makes you stronger in the end.
Right. Well, I think it's very clear that a lot of grassroots Republicans don't have any confidence in their party's leadership, and they don't have any confidence in the Washington Republicans, and in many cases view them as much of the enemy as they do the Democrats. And if that perception isn't changed, either by changes by the leadership or by a new leadership or by some kind of vibrant debate within the party, the Republicans are going to have a real problem. Whether Donald Trump is the ideal person to sort of have us have that debate is another question, but he is, Donald Rumsfeld said you go to war with the army that you have. Trump is the candidate who's forcing that debate, forcing that discussion, and he's showing the depth of disgust, frankly, that a lot of the party rank and file has for the party elites.
Well,
it's really ironic, though, because the establishment created this angst. And now they're still continuing to pour gasoline on it.
I got to stop you, though, because we're all out of time. I knew you'd get that last word in there. J.D. Gins, Jim Antle. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you both on the show. Thanks for joining us. We'll do it again soon. Two groups Donald Trump says he will win hands down. Hispanics and women. We'll deal with that next on this special edition of The Hard Line.